Hi, boys and girls. In reading, I'm going to be trying something different. I'm going to teach you about different types of fiction. And I decided to do this because we're still kind of having a hard time deciding the difference between fiction and nonfiction. And sometimes we have a hard time with knowing what the lesson of the story is, or what they wanted you to learn from the story, or what the characters learned from the story. So I thought I'd start teaching you about fables. And so we're going to work on these this week, and then next week we're going to work on a different type of fiction that fits in a specific genre. Genre is a big fancy word which means like type of book, like it fits in a certain group, section, category, okay? So we're going to talk about fables. Fables are great stories to learn about because they teach you about characters. There's problems and solutions in fables, and there's always lessons. So instead of just continuing to practice problem, solution, characters, we're going to do it with fables because I think it makes it a little more fun. So, a fable. In a fable, the characters are always animals, always. So right away, that's a dead giveaway that this is going to be a fiction story, because if the animals are acting like people, it's fiction, right? So definitely in a fable, the animals act like humans, so it is fiction. In a fable, there is always a lesson, but in fables, they use this fancy word called moral. And so often they'll say, what is the moral of the story? That means, what lesson did you learn from this story? So the animals or the characters always learn something in the story. So then how can you use what they learned in your life, right? What life lesson did you learn from their mistakes? Okay? Think about that just like if there's a kid in your class doing something like running down the hallway and they slip and fall, you learn from their mistake, right? Well, we're going to learn from these characters' mistakes. And so the lesson is what you learn from them. There's also a lot of trickery in fables. Trickery means that one character is being clever and tricking the others. So, for example, if you were in the reading group that we just had about the squirrels having the competition with the nuts, that had trickery in it. The little sister tricked the rest of them. So that one I would consider a fable. The animals were acting like people, there's a moral, and there was trickery. So if those three things are happening, it's probably a fable, is the type of book. So I'm going to start with the most common fable of all. And I think most of you have heard it, but it's a good one to start with, because if you haven't heard it, you need to hear this book, okay? And it's called The Tortoise and the Hare. And that is why I have drawn a tortoise, right? Which is it's like a turtle, but it's more of a land turtle, right? The tortoise, so he goes very slow, and he lives a long time. And the hare. And a hare is another word for a rabbit, okay? So there's the hare. So in this book that I am reading you right now, I want you to pay close attention to who the characters are, and the problem that's in the book, and the solution, and what the lesson is in the book. Okay, so last week I was going to try this strategy of reading a book, you doing the work, and then the next day I talk about the work, but it got totally messed up because of snow days, and I didn't have everything at home, and it was crazy. So this week we're going to try it again. Okay, I'm going to read the book, you're going to do the work on Seesaw, and tomorrow's lesson I'm going to start off with talking about and making sure you said the right thing before moving on. All right, so here we go. The Tortoise and the Hare. Let me get a little bit closer for you. One sunny morning, a tortoise decided to go for a walk. Not long after the tortoise set out, a hare passed him. "Good morning," the hare said. "I'm off to visit my sister." When the hare came back after his visit, he saw the tortoise again. The tortoise had not moved very far. "Are you still back there?" the hare asked. "You may run as fast as the wind," the tortoise said, "but I bet I could beat you in a race." The next morning, the tortoise and the hare met and began their race. The tortoise dragged himself forward, and the hare leaped and bounded toward the finish line. After a few minutes, the hare looked back over his shoulder. He could no longer see the tortoise. The hare laughed to himself. "This race will be so easy to win." Since he was so far ahead, the hare decided to stop and have a snack. He crunched on some wild carrots and he munched on some ripe red strawberries. There was still no sign of the tortoise. "It will take him forever to catch up to me," the hare said to himself. "I think I'll take a quick nap in the shade." The tortoise kept moving along. He moved at a slow but steady pace. Eventually, the tortoise came to the place